it is challenging having your career path moving into product management, but I would say it's definitely gives you unique experiences and insights, and it can lead to a really rewarding career. So, and I feel that anyone I speak to are always exceptionally passionate about the role and what they can do in it.
Welcome to Product Side Stories, the podcast where we reveal the very real and raw lessons learned from product leaders and thinkers all over the world. I'm your host, Nicole Tisch. In this segment, we interview today's trailblazing women in product management. Today, our guest is Angela Fleming, VP of Product at Free Agent. And I'm very excited to have her with us today to share her insights and her journey through the world of product management. Thank you so much and welcome, Angela.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me. It's a real pleasure to join you today.
Great. Well, I'd love to start with this question. It's one of my favorite because it's never the same twice. And I think it's just really inspiring for our audience to hear. How did you get into product management?
Yeah, so I began my career in product management somewhat by chance. So I've been in product management for just over 14 years now. And my route to becoming a product manager for the first time was definitely not your sort of traditional linear stages. So I don't come from a tech background, like I didn't do computer sciences, which is more the conventional route you tend to find. I came from more a business side. So prior to moving into product management, I spent about 11, 12 years in the business side, more on the marketing management side and also business consultancy. So I worked in the automotive sector and the retail space. I worked doing marketing CRM, and then I moved to an automotive tech company, and I took on a business consultancy role with them. So that was my first sort of movement into software specifically. Prior to moving there, I was a customer of the software, so I was a user of that software, and then I became a consultant, so helping people just like me using it, working with them with regards to their business plans and how they can make the most of their software and building that up. So from that perspective, I did work alongside different departments within the tech company, working within what at that point was called R&D, sort of more old term, and working with the engineers in that side, giving feedback from the customers that I was working with on that aspect. So I did. I left that company to move back to an automotive retailer. It was a startup company, and it was to work with starting up the business from the marketing and CRM side. I had a fantastic time there. I was there for 3 years, and it was basically an apprenticeship on building a business for me. Like, really roll your sleeves up, getting stuck in to all aspects. As you're starting quite small, you've got to do everything and building that up. So that was a real education for me from that business perspective. And while I was there, the company I worked with before, a colleague, a friend, who then became my boss, reached out to say there was a product management role that came up, and he felt that I was the ideal person for that. So at that point, I didn't really know like what product management was, and so he shared a job brief with me and said, "Oh no, it'd be really good. And don't pay too much attention to what's on there. It doesn't sell it well," was what he said to me at the time. And but I agreed to meet with the management team there, and they explained what they were wanting, and they wanted someone to come in to look after the marketing and CRM software from a product management perspective. So I had a lot of experience as a user and a consultant from that perspective, and that was basically my first product management job then, and I took that on back in 2010.
Well, that's got to make you feel good for him to reach out to you. Here you are, you have no idea what this position is, and he's thinking you will be perfect for it. So that's a pretty good confidence booster to help you start this new role. And so moving from marketing into product management, I love that shows our audience that, really so many roads can lead to product management. So what is it with that particular background in marketing? What is it that you really love about product management?
So what I realised when I started, so to begin with, I was thinking, oh great, this means I can fix all the things that annoyed me as in marketing, it's with regards to solutions that we used, etc. And I definitely realised that I had a bit of a passion for understanding customers' problems. And I think that also came from my consultancy roles that I had previously. And it was really translating what the problems were and the insights into what could possibly solve the problems. So that was the thing I really got connected with first in going through that, and it allowed me to really bring a lot of my experiences into that, because of the suite of the portfolio that I was looking after was marketing solutions, so your automation tools, campaign management tools, things that I used as a marketeer on a day-to-day basis. So that part, that having that domain knowledge and that really in-depth understanding of the role that I was seeking my solution there was very valuable, and it definitely made me realise that that's the part I really enjoy. It's like understanding what that problem is, really digging into it, going down different routes, bringing out your assumptions and then finding things out that you just didn't even consider, and then like the value of bringing that in, and that sort of from there sort of building up my experience as a product manager, but also building up my knowledge in sort of product development process and into product strategy, and like thinking sort of bigger picture, sort of longer term, and how that's the stuff that started to really excite me.
I love that, how you moved really from such in-depth knowledge as a customer, as a consumer, if I'm understanding you correctly. So, and then getting to be the one who really makes that product better and solves the problems. So from that experience, looking ahead, what is really inspiring you about product management today?
So today, I think product management, when I started, it was definitely the engineering side was definitely king in that sense. I'll use that distinction. And product management was like it was known stuff, but a lot of tech companies didn't really have big representations in that. Whereas now, like I do feel that the desire for people to move into product management is really strong. Whereas back then, like when I was approached, I was like, oh, what does a product manager do? Like it was really quite alien to me in that sense. And I think the opportunities that are present, so you've got so much, like our technology is just growing so much, and startups every day, there's new ideas, people bringing their ideas and starting up their own business. So the opportunities there are fantastic. I think there's a lot of inspiration with the confidence that people have now to I've got an idea, I see a problem here, I think I know how to solve it, and I'm going to sort of put my money where my mouth is and pursue that. So I think that's very inspiring. And for me myself, like I also find I do a lot of reading. I love various different books and listening to podcasts and digesting different insights and learning from others, and that I find great value in that. When I'm asked, one book I always recommend is the book Escaping the Build Trap, which is written by Melissa Perry, and I find her work very inspiring and insightful. And in the book, she's really put a big focus on the importance of shifting focus from outputs to outcomes. And I feel that it's definitely had a profound influence on my approach to product management, really understanding that fairly early, that the importance around outputs as opposed to the outcomes. And I learnt some hard ways, things I thought was, this is great, this is going to solve this problem, and really focusing so much on the different parts, and then it wasn't as successful as what we anticipated. And but so really having a strong focus on the value you're bringing to the problem you're trying to solve. So that's someone I always go back to. And she's wrote another book more on product operations, and that's a new function that I've introduced into our organisation at Free Agent at the start of the year. And again, her book's really been insightful for our journey to move into that function as well.
Oh, that's great recommendations to share. I love that. Thank you. Can you give us maybe some examples of how you have moved from outputs to outcomes? Is there something in particular you can share that you worked with your team?
Yeah, so definitely. So at Free Agent, we are very strong in using the jobs to be done framework. So really focusing on what that user job is that they're trying to achieve and how best to serve that job. So your customers will have a variety of different jobs. There'll be core jobs that's like must-haves that they have to have, and then there'll be more secondary jobs with that. So really, we are very focused, and we use jobs to be done in all aspects of the way we work. And we're constantly referring back to it. We build a strategy around the core jobs that we're seeking to support. So that's definitely a framework that I'd recommend to others to pursue using. It helps you to be really focused on that, the task of your user, your customer, and the value that you want them to have from using your solution to do that particular job or task that they have. So that allows you to focus in on that value piece.
And in implementing this framework, tell me about working with other stakeholders in the company, right? In your position, you've got your team, and so many folks in product management have to work in that space where they might not have authority, but they need to influence other stakeholders in the company. Can you share an example of how you and your team are doing that?
Yeah, definitely. So with the jobs to be done framework, you also have the ODI, so outcome driven innovation. So that's really focusing on how well a particular job is served. So the satisfaction level versus the level of importance. And that's something we've introduced working with our user research team the past 18 months, looking at, we have different customer channels. So we've been looking at that ODI analysis across. So that was something, sharing the value that the framework can bring. They also use jobs to be done in their way of working, but bringing in that the satisfaction versus importance level to get a scoring that helps you prioritize and work through. So our user research team's part of our design side with across product design and engineering. So that's an example of us working closely together to find that information in order to make the right decisions going forward.
And when you're working with your team, let's talk about hiring product managers, right? In your example, you had no idea what it was and didn't have experience in that. But in your position now as VP of product, how do you hire product managers for your team? That I love that your former colleague reached out to you knowing you would be perfect. So what do you look for when you're hiring?
Yeah, definitely. When I'm hiring, we have a sort of 3-stage process for hiring. So first, obviously, we advertise the role, seeking applicants in, and people can submit their resume, their CV, and for the role. As part of that process, we do ask like 3 or 4 questions, and for me, answering the questions are the first insight I have into somebody. Important part for the recruiting process for me is to find people who are going to be the right cultural fit for our organisation, and the questions allow us to get a bit more insight on it. So, and very straightforward questions like about why Free Agent, what it is about Free Agent appeals to you, and can you share an example of a successful product you've launched, just very high level, and how someone describes that gives you a lot of insight into the way they work, and that helps us to see that sort of cultural fit. So that's the sort of first stage, and then we go through all the applications and determine a short list of candidates to invite to interview, and we'll do a first interview, and that will be either the hiring manager and someone else, so subject to the level that we're recruiting for, so it might be myself and one of the other team members would join, and we'll meet with the person, and the focus there is to get to know them, get to understand their experience, see if their experience matches to sort of the needs that we have for the role. And then following that, if they're successful, they're invited back to a final interview. And that interview, we give them a presentation brief, so a question or two to answer that we feel that will allow them to demonstrate how they work as a product manager, and we feel that can demonstrate the different aspects of the role, and when they present that back to us, and then we have a short Q&A after that. And that allows us to really see a breadth of different perspectives, and allows the candidates to bring a lot of their own working experience into the conversations, and also through their presentation as well. So we find that's very valuable for us.
I see. And what are those attributes that maybe rise to the top for you when you're comparing candidates? What do you really like to see?
Yeah, so I'm really looking for people that demonstrate really strong empathy, wanting folk to have really good listening skills, and like they can really take on that information and digest that. We are very data informed, and so having that analytical skill set is advantageous for the role, because we use data in a lot of our decision making, and so being comfortable with using data is another area. But from the empathy is really important. If you cannot empathise with the customers that you're looking to serve, and you can't appreciate the different pain points that they can have, then if I can't see that, that's a sort of first sort of flag to me. Maybe that person's not right for us at Free Agents.
That's great. I can imagine our listeners who are really keen on those attributes, the empathy that you say is so important. I understand that, really using those skills to advance their product management career. So I love that advice, calling out those skills. And now I want to pivot to women specifically. We really like to use this segment to encourage women to consider product management and explore this as a career possibility. So do you have advice specifically for women who might be considering product management?
Yes, my first point would be not to think that you've got to be a tech background. I think I can demonstrate that's not the case. And the level of technical understanding you need to have from product management, you can learn that as you work with like engineers, etc., on that front. So I would say not to be put off to feel that you have to have had like a computer science degree or some form of engineering degree, because that's definitely not my background. And I do know a number of other people that that's not their background, and they've been highly successful in their product roles. I would say if you're looking to break into product management, it's really important to be sort of proactive and seek out opportunities to develop like relevant skills. So I was talking about like that empathy. So how can you demonstrate that empathy and bring that insight into like conversations with others across the business? You want to be able to also demonstrate like the openness that you have, because that can help with sort of building trust within teams. And these are other skills that are really important as a product manager for you to have. I would suggest, if possible, in your current place of work, are there any sort of product-related projects that you can see if you can be part of in that sense? And that will allow you to work alongside with people doing the role, and you can observe. I'm a great believer of that observation, and you learn more through practicing doing things as well. Other things naturally is like looking, there's loads of great material out there. There's lots of fantastic books. I mentioned earlier about Melissa Perry, other great books. from Marty Kagan. There's a great book out, just came out by a gentleman called David Herrera, called Untrapping Product Teams, which I think is really a great read for people working in product as well. So there's loads of great materials to look into. There's online courses and certifications that you can do that can sort of give you that knowledge and understanding of the role. One thing I would always recommend is finding a mentor. Always good to have someone to provide guidance and support, and they're also good for sharing opportunities through their network and things as well. So if you can find a mentor, that's a great advantage to have as you're trying to break into product. Other things is networking is vital, connecting with other product managers through industry events, online forums, professional groups. I'm also a co-organiser of Product Tank Edinburgh. Product Tank is part of the Mind the Product community, and there's various groups worldwide. So I help organise the Edinburgh group. We hold monthly events, and we have a lot of the Edinburgh tech community come and attend, so different people come forward to speak, share their insights. We had an event last night actually, and it was about that sort of crossing the chasm from being an IC to being a product leader, and we had 3 great speakers sharing their insights of how they've navigated their career and the opportunities to pursue around that. And every one of them said about networking, the importance of networking, coming to events like that, getting to talk to other people. And through networking is another great opportunity to hear about roles and opportunities, and where you could get a recommendation. So if somebody's sort of recommending, referring you to a role, that might help to break into the product, your first product role as a result.
That's so great. I love how you are providing that experience locally to the product community near you, and how true that there are so many various product networking groups that folks can join, even if they are not in product yet. Yep. That's a great place to meet and learn and start to understand more what the options might be available in product management.
Yeah, sorry, we had examples where we've had people who came along, they've seen the meetup invite, and they didn't work, they worked in HR and other industries, and they're like, oh, I was really intrigued about this and wanted to come along, this topic in question they wanted to hear more about, and just popped along. So we do have quite a mixture. It is predominantly product people that are in the community, but we also have designers, engineers come along as well, and people from other industry sectors come in, which is really great. You're bringing all different wealth of experience and information to share amongst the group. Other things I would say is for people, don't be afraid to advocate for yourself and for your idea, and in remembering that diverse perspectives are incredibly valuable in product management. So you asked my question about hiring. I'm also, when I'm looking at hiring, I'm also looking to ensure we've got the best diverse team possible. So that's another aspect that I consider when we're going through that process. So it's important for people to realise that having diverse perspectives is very valuable on that front. So not feeling that you have to align to thread of things. But I would say it is challenging, having your career path, moving into product management and moving through as you work through. But I would say it's definitely gives you unique experiences and insights, and it can lead to a really rewarding career. So I've never regretted my transition across that I made all those years ago. So and I feel that anyone I speak to are always exceptionally passionate about their role and what they can do in it.
That's so great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your passion with us today, Angela. I loved all the insights and the book recommendations and just really helping folks to see how they can, put their toe in the water just to see what product management might be and if it's a great fit for them. So I love that. Thank you again so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. I really enjoyed the afternoon, so thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to Product Side Stories. I hope today's insights inspire you and propel your product journey forward. Remember, every challenge is a lesson waiting to be learned. Visit us at productside.com for more free resources like webinars, templates, playbooks, and other product wisdom we've packaged for you. I'm Nicole Tisch, and until next time, keep innovating, keep leading, and keep creating stories worth sharing.